Tootoo?
Oh, I would probably say him.
No, I
Really?
was shocked. Yeah, you had 1,145 penalty minutes. He had 1,010. And he had a reputation as being a fighter, as being a tough guy, as being an instigator, as being a shithead, so to speak. But look at you.
I'll tell you what, those 2 minutes at a time and those 10-minute misconducts at the end of games, they add up, buddy.
That's pretty fun. No, you had a lot of tilts in your life. This was a lot of fun. Hey, by the way, Jordin, could you name the 5 teams that Sheldon played for in the NHL? Let's see.
New Jersey.
And you played for New Jersey as well. Who do you think Lou liked more, you or him?
Well, he loved the native guys, so I'm gonna say 50-50.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll take that.
So New Jersey.
Yes.
Montreal.
Yes.
Edmonton.
Yes.
Dallas.
Yeah.
And was it another Western team?
Yes. Keep going west.
Sunshine, baby.
Oh, Anaheim.
Nice job. And Sheldon, how about you? He played for 4 teams. Jordin did. Who were the 4?
He played in Nashville.
He did.
He played in Chicago.
He did.
He played in New Jersey, like you said.
He did. And one more team.
Did he play in Detroit?
He did.
Oh, wow.
Wow, look at this. I don't know if you prepared for the show or, maybe you're just being a, closet Jordin Tootoo fan. That's awesome. Hey, Jordin, true or false, the NHL record for power play goals by a defenseman is held by Paul Coffey, but Sheldon is second with 19 in 2006, 2007. True or false?
True.
No, that's false. He's number 1. Paul Coffey, I just threw the name up there and made it up. Sheldon is number 1 in history with 19 power play goals. Wow.
Well, I wouldn't want to get in front of one of those one-timers, I'll tell you that much.
And he scored the 2 fastest goals in Oiler history. How many seconds between goals, Jordin?
14.
7. How did that happen? How did you score? I mean, you score the first goal and then you line up for the face-off. And how does a defenseman score within 7 seconds?
Oh, man. 2 breakaways, deked everyone out. And then I think backhand top shelf, both of them.
How did you get a breakaway?
Hang on. One was a dump in off the glass, I think, the second one. First one was just a scrum, and then the second one I dumped it in and hit a partition and went in. So it was one of those 2. So true or false?
That's beautifully put, man. Because it would be really difficult for a defenseman. Your team wins the faceoff, you get the puck at your blue line, you go end to end in 7 seconds. That's. I mean, not even with your breathtaking speed could that probably happen.
My career, as it happened, and as I tell it now, are 2 very different careers.
Life is like that, and I think all of us have a certain amount of flexibility in our lives. That as time goes on, I mean, there's things you wouldn't have to exaggerate about 7 seconds between goals or the velocity of your slap shot. True or false that Jordin Tootoo played in the 2002 World Junior Ice Hockey Championships with my buddy and partner on the radio, Carlo Koliakovo?
Oh, I'd believe it. He has the talent to. I don't know if the years match up, but
no, the years didn't. It's 2003, and so I work with Carlo every morning, and he said, "Jordin Tootoo, man, I played with that guy in World Juniors," and then I think he thought he played with you in Detroit, but I'm not sure that he did. But he wanted me to say hello, and I'm saying hello.
What's up, Coco?
And this was great. Man, it's just so rewarding to hear guys tell their story, just candidly and openly. And, the thing that drives people to get better in their own lives and to take action in their own lives is the lack of shame. When you speak about your struggles, like as I speak about with depression, And as you guys speak about with mental health, but also with addiction, when you talk like you have nothing to be ashamed about, then that empowers other people. You were supposed to ask me a question. Sheldon, what was the question? Who was the player?
I was gonna ask you. We were talking quickly before we got on. You were gonna say I played with the guy Stéphane Richer, and you said that you had a story to tell me about him. I'd love to hear it.
He changed my life, not intentionally. So 2008 for me was the worst year of my life, mental health wise. I mean, I was in a hotel room, and my daughter knows this off by heart. It was November 24th, 2008, Marriott Hotel, Montreal, room 521. We were there shooting off the record at the Grey Cup, and 4 a.m. in the morning, I sat on the edge of my bed and I thought, wow, I know why people take their lives, because I was in so much pain that I was way more afraid of having to live through the next day than I would have been of dying. And in 2009, I was doing a lot better. And Sheldon, we had Stéphane Richer on the show. And I had read that he suffered from depression in the 1990s. Now, did you know that?
I didn't know the specifics, but I knew that it was at that time, it was still, it was taboo, but there was rumblings that he had some issues.
So I said to him before the show, I said, hey, Sheldon, Stéphane, I've never met you before. You don't owe me anything, but is it okay if I ask you how you're doing with depression? And he said, no, it's very painful. I don't like to talk about it. So I said, okay, hey, I understand that. I'm glad I asked you, but if you'll talk about it, I'll talk about it. And I had never spoken about it before because I thought no one would care. And he said, okay, let's do it. So we went on the air. We talked for maybe 90 seconds. He told this crazy story about how after he won a Stanley Cup in New Jersey, 5 days later, he tried to end his life. And he said, can you imagine a Canadian kid? This is one of the most powerful stories I've ever heard as to how depression robs you of the ability to experience joy. He said, I was born in Montreal, drafted by the Canadiens, rookie of the year, last Montreal Canadiens still to score 50 goals. I win the Stanley Cup in 1993. And all I want to do is go home and get into bed and hide from the world. He said, imagine a Canadian kid never, ever experiencing joy from winning the Stanley Cup. And I said, well, hey, my story is very similar outside of the successes, obviously, that you had, but I understand what it's like to go without joy and without really caring about anything because nothing made you feel good. And that was it. Next day is what changed my life. Started getting emails, almost all from men and almost all of them saying, hey, I watched you and Stéphane Richer talk last night. And it was the first time in my life I've heard two men speaking about depression. And the fact that you talked about it without shame and embarrassment has empowered me to reach out to you and say, I'm telling you something I've never told another human being. And I'm like reading these things and I'm going, how the hell did that happen? And, I learned on that day that, the worst thing in your life, which for me has been mental illness, can be the best thing in your life because you get to use it to make a difference in someone else's life. And that gives you a feeling of self-worth that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's so well said. And what you're doing and the way you let others speak to it it's incredible. We all think that we don't have something to offer. And when you're in, I was in the same boat. I was too chicken to kill myself, but some days I was just woke up and I couldn't wait to get back to bed. And again, from the outside, it looks like you have everything. So, depression, addiction, mental illness, it's all in one. And I think the important thing is there's people you can talk to and there's no shame in it. I mean, we've all gone through something, like Jordin said, we all have some sort of story. And just like you and Richie Boy talking, it resonates with somebody. And then it resonates with somebody else, and then maybe it empowers somebody else to share. So true.
What did you call him, Richie? Did you call him Richie Boy?
We call him Richie Boy. Yeah.
You guys, you know what? That's the thing. I mean, I work with Carlo every morning, and who do we have on the show the other day? And he's using his nickname, and I say, Carlo, nobody knows like who you're talking about. You're using nicknames for every player that you ever played with. All of a sudden has a nickname. Yeah. And like normal human beings outside of hockey players never do that. By the way, he told me about this thing called the shoe check, where you crawl underneath the table and you squirt mustard on somebody's shoe and then you get up and you think it's really funny. I said to him, is that like really funny, or is that not like the stupidest thing? He goes, oh my God, it's the funniest thing because the guy gets mad. So I don't know, Jordin, you tell me, is the shoe check funny?
Well, I think in that moment, it's pretty funny when you have a guy who just, bought a brand new pair of dress shoes, and you're out for dinner with all the boys, and you dump, mustard, ranch, whatever you can find, HP, hot sauce. And usually you try and get the rookies, right? It ain't a good thing if a young guy's trying to get a veteran guy, because, back in the late night, back in the day, you have to earn your respect. And I feel that, when I left the game a couple years ago, I see that trend of, earning your respect is kind of faded away with the new era of kids coming up. And, when I first started, God, I did as I was told by any veteran guy. I didn't get off the bus. I was the last guy on, last guy off. And, getting on the plane, you wait till the veteran guys have eaten. And, towards the end of my career, that respect kind of faded away. But all in all, the shoe checking and jokes that are played amongst the boys in the dressing room are always a good laugh.
I guess, we non-hockey players are, maybe our humor is a little more sophisticated than squirting mustard on a guy's new shoes. But hey, you guys excelled. You became one of the best hockey players on the planet to make it to the NHL, and now you use your platform to make a difference in people's lives. And that's amazing. Really good to talk to you, man. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, sharing your story. Is there anything you can't do without during this time that we're at, this time of isolation? Is there one item or anything that you say, I got to have this?
You want to go first, Sheldon, or me?
Yeah, you go first.
Go ahead, buddy. You sound like you're ready.
I got it right behind me here.
What is it?
I need my Tim Hortons every day.
So are you going drive-through, or obviously you make your own because you got the container there?
My wife's Italian, so she has perfected the coffee making for me. So yeah.
What did she say?
I don't know. She's mumbling in the background there.
No, that didn't sound mumbled. How about you, Sheldon? What's one thing you can't do without?
I can't do without probably my my girlfriend or my daughter. There's some sort of human connection each day. I mean, I think it's got to be super tough for some people who are just doing this on their own. It's got to be super tough. So just having a little bit of that human connection each day. We can look at the glass any way you want, right? Half full, half empty. Some people are probably, I can't imagine how hard it is putting myself in Jordin's shoes with 2 young kids and having to do this and keep busy. But it's also a blessing. So,
right.
So the human connection for me is
hey, you know what, Sheldon? It's a bit of a dick move on your part, because Jordin points out coffee and then you take it to be Mr. Sensitive.
Yeah.
I can't do without these people in my life.
His so I could one up them.
Yeah, you really did.
That's what I
but I felt that, Jordin, because I asked you to use a prop. You did, and Sheldon went with some kind of sob story that Yeah, you did. Guys, a pleasure. Thanks. Let's do this again. Much respect for both of you.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks. Nice meeting you, Jordin. Thanks for sharing the story, man.
Likewise.
Awesome. Love that. Nice meeting you, Jordin. It's funny how, we all make the assumption. It's kind of like, they both have First Nations backgrounds. In a lot of ways, I thought that they probably would have realized that about the other or talked about it. It's kind of like Jewish geography, but for First Nations, where we Jews, we think we all know each other, but maybe that's not the case. Anyway, as we wrap this up, our boy Sean Cullen, one of the funniest guys on the planet, who's helping us through this time of great anxiety. He's got a hat on today. Sean, let's roll it, Phil.
This is Buford T. Violence, and I'm talking to the man in Vancouver who thinks his civil liberties are being infringed upon by this quarantine. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to come over there and break your ass into little pieces and then reassemble them into an ass you don't recognize. This isn't just about you. This is about all of us together. So pull it together, or I'm going to kick your spine so hard it'll poke out the top of your head.
Check out the hashtag COVID-19 online comedy fest. Sean Cullen is a really funny guy. That's what we do. We do this every day, Monday to Friday. It's called Isolation Nation. There's really only one purpose to it, that you watch, you listen, and maybe you hear something that makes your day a little bit easier. That's the goal of SickNotWeak every day, especially at this time with COVID-19. And thanks to Jansen for saying, hey, you know what, Michael? Why don't you go out and do something and make us proud? And we hope that we're making them proud right now. I try to come up with a little saying at the end of every day. Today, it's going to be this. Depression doesn't make me stupid. Depression makes me think I'm stupid. It doesn't make me stupid. It makes me think I'm stupid. It's all about self-esteem. We'll talk more about that tomorrow on this show, Isolation Nation, with Chael Sonnen. I dare you, Sonnen, to walk off on me again. I will not accept that. Actually, I would love that. We'll see you tomorrow.